All right, here we go. Another edition of it.
Yeah,
I know. I got Jonathan up there. I got John, but I'm trying to find him with the Zoom call, but you vanished. Oh, no, you didn't vanish on me. You got this thing up. I'm looking for a face. I'm looking for an actual face.
I've got the camera on. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Well, your camera? Yeah, you got to show your face tonight or not?
Yeah, I am. Hold on. I'm trying.
There you go. There you are. You popped in. All right. Okay, and real quick, you have you are running for State Central Committee District 20, so that means people got to vote for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you're running. You got to get votes.
Well, yeah, it's
and you're doing it the old-fashioned way. You're not bribing people and stuff like that, are you? Or are you bribing people? That might be the way to do it. I don't know. But.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's all an interpretation. We had
Shelby's got to be a shoo-in. Shelby's got to be a shoo-in. Come on, people. Let's vote for Shelby.
Yeah,
Shelby.
All right, Shelby, where are you located? Just so people know, Licking County, right?
Well, it's Fairfield, Licking, and Perry. Licking is the largest of the three counties, but I actually reside in Fairfield.
Okay. And one other quick question for you, because you had a fundraiser of Jake and Sabrina's, and Jake and Sabrina used to be on the show. They were the original podcasters, okay?
Yes.
So we haven't seen them for a while, but how did that go? How did the event go for you?
It was good. I mean, it was an engaged crowd. We had some representatives from AxOHTax out there. We got some more signatures on the petition. What's interesting again is that some of the amount of pushback that you get from people that you don't. The Warners were a little bit surprised of some of the heat that they were getting about the AxOHTax portion. Actually, believe it or not. And then we had, of course, Marcel Sturbich was the main event, and he's always a great speaker. And we also had Jake and Sabrina talked about some legislation that they're working on, that they actually have a Senate bill to enhance the predator legislation. And so they talked a bit about that as well. And then we also had Austin Beigel from End Abortion Ohio was a speaker. I am endorsed by that organization, and I believe that Marcel is going to get their endorsement as well. And then as a surprise, Marcel, which is typically does not endorse, he endorsed me that evening. So
wow.
That was
there. You go.
Yeah, it was all very good.
Very good. And I got one other thing to say. I was out in Licking County the other day because I do a lot of driving, and sometimes I have to go through Lancaster. And on my way to Licking County, Lancaster, Chillicothe, anyhow, I saw a billboard sign with your face on it. Okay, vote for Shelby. Yeah. So you did take out a billboard.
Yeah, actually, there's 4 of them.
4 of them.
Yeah, it's all around Licking. So the going in and out of Licking County. Again, that's the primary one that I'm focusing on, but it also bleeds into the other 2. As you were saying, you're heading towards Lancaster, so that's Fairfield County. So just to strategically place them around so that I have the entrance and egress in and out of Licking County.
Yeah. All right. Well, take my advice again. If you can't win, cheat. No, just kidding. Just kidding there. Hey, lobbyistforcitizens.com, Brian Massie. Let's talk about something that is coming. What's that, Ken?
Yeah,
Oh, wait a minute. What's up? Okay. Brian.
Yes.
Brian.
I just want to say thanks to Shelby as far as collecting signatures. Fairfield and Licking in that area, very, very strong patriots in those areas. So the number of signatures we're collecting right and around that area is fantastic. Got a lot of great patriots in that area.
You're welcome, Brian. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk here for a minute about what's going to be happening on Thursday, because you have a major announcement, and I know you're not going to spill the beans or talk about the number of signatures that you've collected or anything, but tell us what is happening at 2 o'clock on Thursday, and we will be live streaming it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's going to be great to see Kent there. I haven't seen him in a while, and he's going to be behind the camera live streaming. We are going to have a press conference this Thursday, the 23rd. Believe it or not, it will be in the home of some patriots, Lou and Carolyn Fidanza. Lou has created a replica of the Oval Office that's in Washington, D.C. So we will be broadcasting from the Oval Office in Kirtland Hills, Ohio. And we have decided to reveal some numbers. There's been a lot of discussion. Heretofore, I have not, mentioned any numbers, but we think it's probably time. We want, not that we want the legislators to know anything, but we want the people to know, what is happening with this movement, because it is a grassroots, citizens-led initiative. No one is getting paid. No one's running for office. No one's trying to make money. We're just trying to tell these politicians we want our freedom and liberty, not only for this generation, but for future generations. So we will be doing something that is a little unique. I can tell you that the politicians from both parties are not going to be happy with me, but that's okay. And for anybody in Columbus that has been reaching out to my friends in Lake County, they've been asking, believe it or not, Joe, they've been asking if Brian Massie has any vices that they can exploit.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to tell them that I'm going to be 80 years old this year. I've never smoked. I don't drink. I don't drink any alcohol. I've never had a bottle of beer in my life. I'm not motivated by money. I've been married to the same woman for 52 years. But I did have a traffic.
You don't have any.
No. I had a speeding ticket when I was 18, so they may want to. But what I was told by a source is that really doesn't matter for the political class in the state. They'll just make up something about you, and then you have to defend a lie, and that's very disconcerting, to me. It tells us something about our immoral society and our government, be it a Democrat or Republicans. It's funny as I go through the state, I get different reactions from different Republican groups. So far, the Summit County Republicans have been the ones that have supported me the most. Here in Lake County, other than Commissioner John Plechnik and Recorder Becky Lynch, and to a certain extent, Auditor Chris Galloway. Chris has been, very transparent, and he's been great to work with. But the rest, the Jerry Serenos of the world and the Mike Zerns have been poisoning the well.
Well, you've said it, and so I just want to reiterate to everybody again. So Thursday at 2 o'clock, you're going to make this announcement. It's going to be at someone's house in Kirtland, and you were saying that the house, that room, is a complete replica of the Oval Office where Trump's at.
I will be speaking behind the Resolute desk in Kirtland. I will be speaking behind that, and Commissioner John Plechnik will be there. Most of the committee members will be there, and there will be some members of the public will be there.
Yeah, and we're going to be broadcasting it, and so I would assume, because you haven't spilled the beans or said anything, I would assume that if you are putting all this together and calling the media, you probably have some pretty good news. I would assume, right?
Joe, you want to flip to me? Let me tell you.
All right, well, it's got to be, Brian. You can't get everybody together and then just throw a stink bomb. All right, it's got to be. It's got to be something good.
No matter what I say, there's going to be a group of people that are ecstatic, and there's going to be a group of people that say, "Oh my, you should have had 2 million signatures by now." So it's no matter what I say, there's going to be a group of people that will not be satisfied. But I can tell you, I'm very proud of our zone leaders, the whole organization structure that Leonard Gilbert's set up with 11 zones and 8 counties per zone, and all of the groups that have been working together, including the group led by Beth Blackmar, the Citizens for Property Tax Reform. They've done an excellent job, and we appreciate them being part of the team.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, and hopefully there is some good news. We're going to have Jeff Skinner joining us here in just a moment. So we have a unique show because coming up at 7:30, Kim Georgeton is joining us. She is the lieutenant governor for the Casey Putsch campaign. And as you were saying, you know, Hill and, well, you were saying this off camera, but there is some bad news with Heather Hill. Now, her and Stu Moats are the third group, the third candidates running for governor and lieutenant governor. But Heather Hill has dropped Stuart Moats as a running mate, citing irreconcilable differences. They can't get along with each other.
Yeah, it's a real shame. They both are very fine people, and I love them both. And I just find it really sad that they had a parting of the ways. But that certainly doesn't help Heather Hill and her campaign, and I feel very badly about that.
No, that's not the way to go into a campaign cycle. And with 2 weeks to go until the election, the finishing of the election, to boot your lieutenant governor out of there just doesn't sound right. All right, we're going to boot somebody else in because we got this guy here. Skinner, what's happening? Good to see you. You got bricks, and I got bricks, okay? So, and I spent a long time piecing these bricks together to make it, and paying a fortune for these neon signs here that I got. Yeah. Well, what are you laughing about, Shelby? Okay.
I didn't pay anything for these bricks that came with the property, so. Well, I guess I paid for the property.
Okay. All right, yeah, I got what you're saying. All right, let's talk. You're with the Ohio Register. And I was reading the Ohio Register, and you had some updates on the Perry Data Center, which is a big, big topic, and the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that we want to talk about. A lot of people don't know what a non-disclosure agreement is. And just putting it in simple layman terms, to me, a non-disclosure agreement is when you hide stuff into the contract that you don't want anybody to know. And so these big data companies, trillion-dollar companies now, they all do these NDAs, and they come to these small towns, and they kind of twist the arm of the mayor. Because these guys, Perry Village has 1,600 people, all right? So even if you're the mayor, you're probably either a farmer or you're doing something else, okay? 1,600 people. And the trustees there, it's a very minimal part-time-ish, I would think. But they could be strong-armed in the worst way. And this is a little bit from that meeting.
There's no secrets.
Be accountable on the line for over $1 million, and they can get out of it for $50,000 to $70,000.
Yeah, what she said there was the agreement to, Jeff, and I think you're aware of this, but a lot of people aren't, in the Perry Village. If they want to get out of that agreement, it's going to cost them close to $1 million. But if the trillion-dollar company data center wants to get out, it's only going to cost them $50,000.
Explain that to me. I'd also like to know, was there an NDA signed by anyone on council or by you?
I believe I signed the NDA when we
Why would you
discussed
sign
it
an NDA?
in a beginning discussions.
Why?
To hear what they had to say.
So what is not being told to us?
Yeah, why did you sign it? Why did you sign it?
Nothing.
A non-disclosure agreement. That means that he does not tell us everything that is going on.
No, the NDA.
There is intricate details of the agreement that he does not have the ability to tell us legally.
Before we take it.
Okay, we had Curtis Kurt on this show last week. Curtis is with the white shirt there. He's on the council village, and he wasn't happy.
I want to answer, Mayor, as to why you told me that no one, including yourself, had signed an NDA.
I never told you that.
Lie.
No, you're lying.
All right, so everybody's lying. There is no truth anymore. Let me get back to Jeff here. It's good to have you with us here tonight, Jeff. So you dug a little bit into the NDA, from what I understand. You were able to post it and read it. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so just to preface this, two things. First is that the ability of independent journalists to actually get access to these records is under threat in Ohio due to a piece of legislation, House Bill 314, which wants to end transparency for the state. It's actually going to weaponize the legal system to allow governments to sue citizens for making public records or FOIA requests. So this is something I think is important to keep on everybody's radar as we move deeper into this, because accessing these public records is going to be key, and records like it, to fighting back against these data centers. So
Okay, hang on one second, please.
that.
Please, hang on 1 second. I need you to repeat that because I got to write that down. Which House bill is that again?
314.
314, wow.
And this has bipartisan support right now amongst Democrats and Republicans, which is why, and for, obvious reasons, but it allows, again, the government to weaponize lawfare against citizens for making public record requests. In this bill, the language in it allows government to bring forth litigation, including legal fees, court costs, and even charges for harassment if they feel that the requester is a harassing entity. So it is an incredibly dangerous bill that really should not even be considered, but it's threatening all of this process right now. So that's the underpinnings I wanted to
okay, House Bill 314. House Bill 314. Okay, so I'm going to let you talk a little more, and I'm going to try to pull that up right now on the web, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so this NDA is very interesting because I think it reveals two very important tactics that these data center developers are using when they come into these negotiations. And I want to be credible, or as much as I can be, with regards to the elected officials who may have signed or been a part of it. So I requested these records from the Perry Village Council, and they did send over a version of the NDA. I cannot say specifically it is the final version because it was not signed by the developer. So I can only say that it is what they sent me. Now, the non-disclosure agreement I received was interesting to me because, firstly, what it attempts to do is anytime they have these NDAs that are signed, the goal is, as they argue, to shield proprietary technology or information that the developer may have underpinning the development of their data center location. And they try to argue it's the same sort of thing as proprietary technology, closed loop water system, something of that nature. That's not actually the case. In this case, they attempt to, on page 1, stipulate that the non-disclosure agreement itself is a trade secret. And that's a very unique claim within the document because it actually is an attempt to contract out the Open Records Act in Ohio, which is illegal. So I want to stipulate that right on the outside. On page 1, the implication is that anyone who signs it can't even talk about it because they're trying to say the NDA itself is a trade secret. And that goes against Ohio law. Because anything that a elected official signs in their capacity to enact or take action on behalf of, a local government or the citizen, it becomes an open record, a public record itself. So in putting this in the contract, they're trying to litigate out Ohio law.
All right, hang on 1 second. I'm going to put this up here. This is House Bill 314 you were just talking about. Danny Isaacson is a primary sponsor, and Sharon Ray. So you got both Republicans. It's in the House, but it hasn't been voted on or anything yet. But I don't.
Is there anything in the Senate on this, or is it strictly in the House?
It's just sitting in the House, like in committee right now. Not even in committee. I mean, the committee hasn't pulled it out yet, so it's just being talked about in the House committee. And then it would have to go to the floor, get voted on, and then it would go to the state Senate, and then go to Governor DeWine's. But this is not good. I mean, this is why? What is the purpose of 314? What's the purpose of NDAs in this House Bill 314? I mean, I just simplify it by saying that what they're trying to do is they're just trying to hide stuff. That's the only reason you would do this. But do you want to give a little bit more in-depth explanation than just that, or is it really just that simple?
With the 314, I think the main goal is they state outright they want to have some sort of legislative protection against people they feel are harassing them with public records requests. I personally believe on its face that claim is utterly ridiculous. The idea that the public can somehow be harassing elected officials by requesting records is insane to me. Those are our records because we are the public. We are the ones who, give the authority and power of these individuals to even be in the position that they're in. So the idea that we can't request records because it is somehow harassing is insane. But then to also weaponize that process and say, hey, if you make a request and the government entity believes you are harassing, they can charge you, take you to court, make you pay legal fees on top of it. So in a sense, they're an attempt to intimidate the public from even requesting these documents. And the coincidence to me is that it coincides very strongly with this massive data center push in Ohio, in which, as we just mentioned with the NDA we secured from Perry Village, illustrates how these public-private partnerships and corporations are attempting to essentially pull the veil over the public's eye. The argument that the NDA itself is a proprietary document that can't be discussed is only one aspect of what I found in this NDA that I found very interesting. There is another one, because not only does it attempt to supersede Ohio law by proprietizing, or however you want to phrase it, the document itself, it also attempts to violate the Open Meetings Act and Sunshine Law by stating and pushing anyone who signs it and are part of the discussions to have discussions only in executive session. That was on, again, page 1 of this document. So they're attempting to, again, pull this entire process out of public view and create a litigious situation for those who sign it, putting them in some sort of legal limbo as to whether they can even discuss that they've signed a document, whether one exists, or even discuss that a developer is coming in to build a data center. They want all of that under the shroud of darkness.
It's crazy. Okay. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'm just going to say thank you so much, Jeff, for uncovering this. I just want to let you know this cannot stand, and I'd be glad to work with you in any way, shape, or form to make sure we get this out to the public and to defeat this very quickly. This I don't know how many public records requests I've asked over the years, hundreds, and the idea that they are going to keep everything behind closed doors and secret from the public cannot stand at all.
All right, here's that bill again.
Ridiculous.
House Bill 314. Danny Isaacson.
And these are all Republicans, right?
And Sharon Ray.
These are Republicans that want to...
wait a minute, Isaacson, I thought he was a Republican. I'm sorry, I thought he was a Democrat.
Oh, is he?
I believe Isaacson is, but Ray is a Republican.
Usually they put the color of what they are, so Isaacson usually would have blue underneath here. Sharon Ray is definitely a Republican, supposedly. All right. Interesting.
So we got the Republican Party at the state level that does not care about the average citizen again. I see that more and more.
Yeah. Okay.
They're looking after the special interest groups and the donor class.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to flip this around a little bit. I got Kim Georgeton. Kim, are you with us here tonight? I think I saw you come into the Zoom room.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, though. But I can see you. I can hear you. All right. I want to bring Kim on. We're going to talk to her about the Casey Putsch campaign. And also, they are big into data centers, and I want to continue the data center discussion a little bit. So hang on there, Jeff, if you can, okay, as well. So we're just gonna go right back into the data center discussion here in just a minute. Let me cut to you here. Are you able to get any video, or are you just audio?
Why don't if I can log back out and try to log back in and see if that works.
Just poop in there.
What's that? Yeah. Wait a minute. What'd you say, Kent?
I can log out and I'll try to come back in and see if my video works. I'm not sure why it's not working.
Okay, give it one more try and boot all the way out. Come in and see if we can get your picture.
All right, I'll be right back.
Because we all want to see what you look like. Otherwise, we
Yeah,
got to look
we-
at Skinner all night. I'm not going to do that.
Yes, I will be right back. Let me give this a
Go
try.
ahead. Good. All right. So,
I think Kim sent out she sent out a video I thought was very revealing. Hopefully she'll mention that, where she was calling out Serino and a few of the other Republicans and what they're working on.
oh, good. Yeah. Make sure she mentions that, and we will talk more about the data centers. So, Jeff, with the data centers here for a minute, what are some of the health hazards? I know you know that pretty well. What are some of the health hazards with the data centers?
Yeah, the big one that I have the most concern about is PFAS or PFA exposure. These are forever chemicals that are used in a variety of manufacturing components that get circulated through the cooling systems and the water that they're pulling from either the aquifers or your municipal water system. And what ends up happening is even if they consider it a closed loop, that's not permanent. So that water with all of those cleaning solvents and PFAS gets eventually dumped out somewhere. And in federal EPA regulation land, they've actually increased the limit for what they say human exposure can be to PFAS. And this, in my opinion, coincided quite well with the data center boom in Ohio. And in addition to that, the Ohio EPA is still mulling over a petition, which in my opinion is a direct violation of the Ohio EPA's entire purpose to allow data centers to dump this wastewater into the Great Lakes region. So my big concern for municipalities that have these data centers is your water treatment facilities and systems that run on federal EPA standards have now decreased the amount of work that they're doing to clean PFAS out of your drinking water. And they're going to increase the level of PFAS there, which means that your children, your babies, your toddlers that are on, formula, whatever it is, they're drinking water from the tap that has significantly higher chemical exposure than it would have otherwise. And none of these municipalities are discussing that. They're talking about the toll on water usage. They are not discussing the toll on human consumption of cleaning solvents and forever chemicals you will now be consuming.
That's a good point. Yeah, because all the discussion has been about all the water we're going to be using, not a whole lot of discussion about the poisons that are going in, the poisonous chemicals going into that water that seep into the ground. There's a lot of well water in these communities. But Perry Village has 1,600 people, so it's all farmland. That's where they're just dumping these big data centers. Of course, there's a lot of underground water. It seeps into that. They're also right by the lake. There's a lot of issues. I want to get our guest on here tonight. Kim Georgeton, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. Very good. It's good to see you. So I thought I would just mention a couple things about you with your bio here. But anyhow, you consider yourself a grassroots outsider, and I'm talking about you and Casey here. Constitutional conservative alternative to the establishment Republicans. Would that be pretty accurate? Accountable leadership over career politicians, maybe. So an alternative. Yes. So you're born and raised in Cincinnati, and you can fill in a lot more gaps here. But I have down that, parental rights and education is big for you, medical freedom, data centers, pro-life, make America healthy again. So let us just a few more tidbits about you, if you could, just so we get to know you.
Sure, yeah. So I was born in Cincinnati area. I'm the youngest of 7. My father was a World War II Marine veteran, and he fought in Nagasaki, Okinawa, and Saipan. And so I always say that's where I get my fighting spirit from. The never say die, Semper Fi fighting spirit. And, through there, I graduated from Oak Hills High School on the west side and went to University of Cincinnati. I'm married. I've been with my husband. He also graduated from Oak Hills High School, but he went to Miami University. He owned a restaurant for many years, and that kind of coincides with one of the reasons I started to get involved in politics to begin with, which was during COVID, when they were trying to make my daughter wear a mask at school. They had shut down my husband's restaurant, and then my work was demanding to understand and know what my vaccination status was. And I didn't like any of those things that were happening. So I stood up and, started doing all kinds of protesting. I wrote affidavits to try to hold people accountable for violating my constitutional rights at that time, and did a protest at the Hamilton County Health Department, delivered 12-page affidavits to the entire Hamilton County Health Board, explaining to them why they needed to stop promoting the COVID vaccine at that time, because I felt that their information was faulty. And I brought information to the board at that time, proving why their information was wrong. So that is kind of how I ended up in politics. I call myself an accidental activist. Because of the COVID situation, it brought me out of, I would call it a stupor, because I thought, for some crazy reason, that our government was actually doing things by the book, by the Constitution. I thought that we were a constitutional republic and that all laws would be like filtered through the Constitution as they are brought to the table. And I realized that was not the case.
Yeah,
and
that wasn't the case with COVID, that's for sure, because what was happening with COVID was, well, now think about the irony here. That brought you in, and if you and Casey were to win, you'd be going up against Amy Acton. Talk about the irony of all that, right? That would be interesting. You could just settle the whole thing with an arm wrestle or something. You don't have to go to the voting booth. That would, yeah. But the COVID era was a disaster. I am going to say this, though. And, I was at the Lincoln Day dinner. Brian is out in your neck of the woods at the Lincoln Day dinner there in Lake County. Oh, and I forgot to play the Pleshnik. I'm going to play Pleshnik here in a few minutes. But, Rob McCauley was the speaker. And, Rob McCauley's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But here's the issue I have is, they keep blaming Amy Acton. And Amy Acton wasn't the governor. Right. Amy Acton was hired by DeWine. Right. She's taking orders by DeWine. Even DeWine has come out and said that now. It's like, why he's giving the orders. She's not allowed to supersede him. So that right. To me is like, how can you do that? It was more than just Amy Acton, unfortunately. But I'll tell you what, here's what I want to do. If you don't mind, I've got a little game plan here. I want to talk a little bit about data centers, and then we'll get back into your campaign. And if there's anybody in the chat, put that back up if there is a good chat so that we can follow through on it. If anybody wants to chat, we would really enjoy that. But let's just talk about some of these data centers. What is your response and your thinking on these mega hyperscale data centers that are going into Ohio everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that they have a net negative ROI for the people. If you kind of add up all of the expenses that they are going to be impacting our communities, our individuals, the potential health consequences, they're definitely a net negative. Thank you. I saw somebody say they love my videos. At the end of the day, the AI data centers are not for the people. They don't produce a product. They don't produce a service. They are there to surveil us, really, at the end of the day. There's really no other reason for them. They're also there for Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and they're there for military reasons. So there's no real benefit to us as consumers. These are initiatives that we have not consented to, and they're shoving them in as if we have consented to them. So my whole issue with the data centers is that they have been brought in under the cover of night. I heard you guys talking about NDAs when I first joined, and that's absolutely ridiculous that they signed NDAs. I attended a meeting down in Mount Orab, and I took my pocket constitution, pulled it out, and I said to every single one of the village council members, can you guarantee that by building these data centers that are going to be housing my data, that no one is going to unlawfully search via, impacting my Fourth Amendment right, my information from those data centers? I said, can you guarantee that to me? If you can't, then you're in the supply chain of someone who's bringing something in that's going to violate my constitutional rights, and I have a civil complaint against you for that. So that was kind of my point of view during that meeting. That was something at that time people were focusing on, as you said, water, energy, health consequences, but nobody is talking at all about the privacy issues related to data centers. And I have a 30-year career in business consulting and technology, and I understand very clearly how data works underneath the scenes. So one of the things we have been doing in e-commerce technology for the past 20 years is trying to figure out how to customize and personalize messaging to people via their emails, via making sure we're offering you new and different products that are going to entice you to buy more and more and more. And so that is the technology that I have been working on throughout my career. So I understand how all of these data points are brought together in order to create marketing activities that get customers to react. And data centers are going to take it to a new level.
For a second, some of the hyperscale data centers that are going up here in Ohio. So this is the ones that I'm really concerned with, because there's like 20 of them in Ohio, but these are the massive ones that are going into the villages, like the one in Perry, 230 acres, and they're just plopping down 6 massively huge buildings. And they're right by the nuclear power plants. We're going to tap into the power plant, nuclear power for that, I'm sure. And they're right near Lake Erie. And we were talking about some of the problems associated with the water, the electricity, and everything with these data centers. But I'm going to throw it back to Jeff Skinner here for a minute, because I don't want to leave him out of the conversation. But, Jeff, you're the one. And by the way, Kim, Jeff is the one who found the NDA. So you get credit for that, right? You found that and you posted it to the Ohio Register. And I know you did, because I was reading Grok, and Grok cited the Ohio Register for the NDA. So congratulations on that, okay? There you go. All right.
We're Grok official.
There you are. You're official. You're official. So, but anything you want to add to any of this data center stuff?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I want to throw in there. First, with regards to Perry Village and Perry Township and that data center, I just want to throw this out there because the land that data center is being built on, Champion Farms property, was actually donated. It was bequeathed by the previous owners to a joint, we'll say, trust between local government, even the Board of Education owned a portion of it at one time. And the idea is that this property would be used for the betterment of the community, specifically with regards to education and agricultural information. So the fact that this is being used and repurposed, in my opinion, for data center construction is very sad. It's tragic. Because more often than not, we are seeing landmarks, we are seeing farmland, we are seeing vast territories just bulldozed over and planted with data centers. And I want to throw this out there too, that map you put up, or that infographic that marked those locations, Columbus, New Albany, we have a tendency when it comes to this conversation of data centers to believe that this is a local issue. That if a data center goes in central Ohio, it doesn't affect me, up here in northwest or northeast Ohio. It does, because the energy grid is a collective, we'll say, utility, in the sense that the pricing for kilowatt per hour is determined by PUCO and is determined as a statewide basis. So as the energy consumption goes up throughout the state, it is limiting the energy bandwidth for everyone else in the state, making the energy costs for people in Geauga, Lake, and Portage County higher, because the energy usage down in New Albany is greater. So people need to start approaching this as a globalized, a statewide issue, not just a local county or city municipal issue. Your energy bills will increase because of data centers going in other parts of the state.
Yeah, they use so much massive amounts of electricity. So there is one going in Pike County that's going to be like the biggest in the entire U.S., 10 gigawatt one, and it's like going to use half of the electricity we currently use in the state of Ohio, but they are going to build their own power plant right next to it. They have to. But yeah, these if you were governor, what would you put any kind of shackles, limitations, or anything on data centers, or how would you manage that, Kim?
Absolutely. There needs to be regulations on this. The unfettered absolute proliferation of these data centers across Ohio is mind-boggling, quite frankly. It's an acceleration that no one consented to, and that's just not right. I mean, there are so many issues when I go to these meetings and I ask specific questions. Something simple like, has there been a cumulative study on what the long-term health effects are of electromagnetic frequencies? Everyone looks at me like a deer in the headlights. They have absolutely no idea. And there are over 70 conversations of data centers across the state of Ohio right now. We know that data centers emit a very high frequency that also emits a buzzing noise. Could that impact the bee population in Ohio? Everyone knows that when bees disappear, the whole ecosystem collapses. So, I mean, where are the cumulative studies showing us what the impacts are? Until we have that information, we can't make any good decisions. And so then therefore we shouldn't be making these decisions, and we shouldn't be plunking these things in everywhere at every opportunity, no matter where it is. But to your point on the farmland, like, I don't know what happened with these zoning committees that are just automatically calling emergency zoning meetings and taking agricultural land and rezoning them under a quote emergency, which I'm not sure what the emergency actually is. I think it's unlawful unless there actually is a true emergency to note that as an emergency situation on a zoning committee. And this is happening all over Ohio as well. Taking agricultural land and all of a sudden designating it as industrial, light industrial, in fact, is what they're categorizing it as. And I would argue that data centers need to be considered heavy industrial, not light industrial, because the massive amounts of energy and massive amounts of water that are used. So I have concerns around the zoning process as well. If you break it down, the whole supply chain of different decisions that have been made through the data center process, there's a breakdown literally in every like stop gate measure. There's a problem with almost every single thing that's going on in that whole chain. So it needs regulation, because I think, quite frankly, our villages and townships, they're not qualified to be able to make decisions like this. And then, to your point, when you have the EPA, they are, saying, hey, go ahead, dump that water back into your nearest waterway. I mean, who in their right mind is going to agree to do that? I mean, I've got friends who own construction companies, as an example, and they get a little puddle as they're doing construction, and the EPA is on them like right away and like fining them. Whereas now all of a sudden the EPA says you can dump this PFAS laden toxic material right back into the waterway. I mean, money
talks. All right, listen, I want to go around the horn here for a minute. Shelby, I know you're leaving, and I'm surprised you're still here, and I'm glad you are, and you are running for District 20. Do you have a question for Kim Georgeton?
Yeah, related to that, she's already answered it, that she would seek some regulation over it. One unrelated question, though, is that with you and Casey, would you use your bully pulpit to help combat and address the abortion amendment in the Constitution and try and get that overturned, or whatever you could do to eliminate it?
I mean, whatever we can do. I think our first objective is figuring out what's happening with the property tax situation. If that passes, there's going to be a massive amount of chaos in the State House, and that's going to have to be first priority, figuring out how to replace that $21 billion. So I have a feeling that that's going to take, if that occurs, and I think we're feeling very confident about that. There are a lot of things that are going to need to happen in a short time frame before taxes are due to cover that. So there are going to be important things that are also important and urgent, and then there are also things that are important that are high priorities that we would want to get to. And so I think yes, we would do that, but it would depend upon where that fits in the layer of things that we're actually able to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I've got a question. We've got about, I understand, 200 data centers, and I believe they started in Wexner's New Albany area. And I'm just wondering, is there an upper limit that can we have 2,000 data centers, or are we already at the limit with 200? It just seems like this is a never-ending thing. They're targeting Ohio because of our our water and the electricity and the open land. And I'm just not in favor of any of these data centers. So I'm hoping that Kim and Casey can do something about it. But it's got to come through the legislators and not just the executive branch.
Yeah, that's true.
Correct.
Yeah,
I mean, it's important to clarify there are 11,000 data centers in the world, and the United States has over 4,000 of them. So, and I think Ohio is right now number 4 or number 5 in total number of data centers. Virginia is number 1. Then you've got Texas, California. We need a certain number of data centers to handle the current structure of what we have at the moment. But I think it's important to differentiate between a regular old data center that started in the 1990s versus, a hyperscale data center. And I like to give people a visual. I say, look, imagine the size of a football field, and then imagine then between 6 and 8 football fields end to end to end in length. And that's really what we're talking about in terms of these hyperscale data centers. And it really comes down to the Bitcoin mining, that the reason for the need of these, because the Bitcoin mining, these chips are actually hotter than the normal chips. Like if you're holding your iPhone and the back of your phone gets warm, those use a certain type of chip. But when you talk about when you're going to cryptocurrency, the chips for that get extremely even.
It's all with that crypto.
That is why this.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's this big move for crypto, and we know what President Trump said. He wants the United States to be like the crypto center of the world. Now, again, I mean, he made that statement, but when it comes down to reality and what we're actually doing, and do the people really want that, and is there consent? That is where I put the full stop on, because he also put out a memo early on that said he wanted to make sure that nobody's rights were being violated. And I feel like that's where we are at this moment in time. I feel like people have taken his lead and they're trying to accelerate things, but they're stepping all over the Constitution in the process.
Hey, I'm going to go to Jonathan. I saw you sneak in here, so if you got a question.
I did.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back on the show, Ms. Georgeton. I've got a couple of questions. I was writing a few questions around the data centers, but before I go to that, I want to drill down on something you said about property taxes, and that's carrying forward this notion of a lost revenue $21 billion. And I'd like to push back a little bit and get some feedback from you on your position relative to, and I'm air quoting this, replacing $21 billion versus tackling waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. We see it all over the place, and a lot of people who've been pushing for Doge Ohio and things like it see ample opportunity to cut way more than $21 billion, just simply looking at the escalation and spending at the state level from pre-COVID to current. We've got more than $21 billion. Then you look at public education, which is actually, that's a misnomer. It's not public education. But there is ample opportunity to scale back. And I chafe at the idea of replacing, and again, I'm air quoting that, the $21 billion. People like Mike DeWine talking about increasing sales tax, et cetera, is completely misleading. What has to happen in the state of Ohio is tackling waste, fraud, and abuse throughout the system and not continuing to spend at this ridiculous clip that we currently are. So I'd like your comment on that. But before I relinquish the mic, I want to drill down into an element that to me is mystifying about these data centers. There are all sorts of arguments against them. We can see where they're headed, and these mass data centers have clear ties from everything that I'm able to do, all the research into the intention to build CBDC, which stands for centralized banking, digital currency, and all sorts of social tracking metrics, etc. Very invasive of privacy. But there's an element, and I'd love your feedback on this, and also just to tease it out to our audience. What in the world is happening with the people that I call the greenie meanies? All those like green environmentalists who are very concerned about every building and structure and construction project and how it might endanger the tree toad and certain bird species. They're constantly evaluating those things. But why is it with these data centers, the greenie meanies have gone silent? Those are my two inputs.
Yeah. So on the green question, those people are definitely out. So as we've been traveling around and at the forefront of some of these data center conversations, they are there. And this is their number one voting concern, both for the primary and for the general election. So I don't know how you're not hearing from them, or maybe they're just in forums, maybe that you are not seeing, but they are definitely out there and they are very active. There is a group, it's called Cedar Bog, and they take care of a very special swamp area in Ohio that contains different varieties of birds and insects, and I think even grasses, like different things that exist there. And they are really loud about what's been going on with this. So they're at the forefront of one of the discussions in their neighborhood.
Cedar Bog.
But yeah, I mean, they're there. There are people who have concerns. Yeah, I can after the call, I can send you their Facebook page. But yeah, there are a host of, every community now has their own Facebook page that is around data centers, and they're proliferating and they're uniting on this topic. So it needs to be addressed from a total Ohioan perspective. So does that answer your question on that one?
It does. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And I'll take you up on that. Any contacts that you have like that, we'd love to learn more about them. But on to the 21 billion that supposedly is going to be problematic when we pass. And I don't think it's an if, it's when we pass the abolition of state property tax. It seems to me a clear avenue to getting rid of the opaque, murky taxing metric attached to property taxes and put in place something that's much clearer, easier to understand, transparent, and by all means, much more reasonable. What we've allowed for.
Yeah.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I hope you agree with me. The inclusion of property taxes with its just insanely difficult to understand jargony terminology, the mills and floors, etc. It has confused the public for decades and a few generations. It's allowed for mass overspending on the part of government. This is a great opportunity to rein that in. So we have many avenues: waste, fraud, abuse, and the confusing and opaque taxing mechanism of property taxes. That's the great opportunity, I think, for somebody to step into government, take the reins, make it clear and easier to understand, and right size our spending.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. We have a 15-page draft document that we're working on that addresses the 21 billion. So, and obviously pre-COVID, Ohio spent about $50 billion. Now, the most recent budget, we're at $100 billion. So that's a 100% increase. And I don't know anybody who can say that their salary increased at that level. And we surely know that outpaces the amount of inflation. So there's definitely a lot of spending that can be cut back. And, if you look at the structuring of departments that have either grown or have just purely popped up as new departments since really starting, I guess, with the Kasich administration. There are departments there that I believe, it will take political courage, but there are departments there that I believe we can actually completely remove. And then there are departments that are going to have to be restructured. So coming from a consulting background, you each year you look at your whole company and you decide, what you need to succeed. And, you make cuts, and that's a normal thing. And Ohio has never, to my knowledge, never cut. We've only grown. So, and again, it may have been at the detriment of the people in some cases. So we have to look at areas where we can not only cut, where we can find the waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, let's talk about the Somalians, the Haitians, the Mauritanians. We have a lot of people here that we're paying for through our tax dollars. And, half that increase between the 50 and 100 billion, half that increase is Medicare, Medicaid. So we do have to look at that with a fine tooth comb. We know there's already a lot of fraud. They've already caught fraud in that area. And we know there's a whole lot more. We know there's the daycare fraud that needs to be completely nipped in the bud. We know there's a trucking fraud going on, the Uzbekistan trucking situation. There are all kinds of fraud, waste, and abuse issues. So we'll need to set up a committee that will dive deep there and do an audit of all of the different departments. And
do an audit.
like I said, that's going to take
an
a lot
audit
of
that
political
actually,
courage, but it's something that needs to be done.
Do an audit that actually finds something. Because all I hear about is all the audits that they're doing already at the state level.
Well, we haven't even been able.
And we have, so many billions and billions of fraud and everything. You know what, Kim, I hate to say this, but we're just about out of time. Is there any closing statement you'd like to make, get people out there to vote for you? Why should someone vote for Kim Georgeton and Casey Putsch?
You should, because the alternative is going to potentially globalize Ohio. When you look at the $20 million investor that our opponent has, he has venture capital firms that are technology based. We know that our opponent is a huge proponent of data centers and is going to do everything they can to make a return on investment for their investors who spent $20 million to fund his campaign. That investor also has a league of companies that comes in and buys up distressed properties. So not only will he earn money when the data centers proliferate, he will also come in and earn money when the properties, both commercial and residential around them, fail. He can come in and snap those up at a cheap dollar. So this feels like a global takeover of the state of Ohio coming from my opponent. And really, I wouldn't be in this race if I didn't think it was an urgent emergency. Like, I did not want to run for anything this year. And when the Casey campaign called me and asked me to do it, and I looked at what the actual situation was, there were many things that I actually didn't realize about the current circumstances around our opponent. And I encourage everyone to do a lot of research on this. I think many people kind of bought into the talking points, and the talking points are literally just that. And you can even see there's like a video out there where he's literally mimicking Obama talking points. And it's quite terrifying. When you see it, you cannot unsee it, because it's just like, this is Obama 2.0, and we can't risk this for the state of Ohio. Ohio does not want to become California. We do not want to become Silicon Valley. That is not Ohio. That is not who our people are here in Ohio. And we want to maintain our cultural heritage, and we want to have jobs for people. We want to make sure that we are protecting Ohio jobs for all Ohio workers. Many people know my personal story about the H-1B abuse, and that is something that is also going to be is already peeling jobs away from people in the technology space, and it will shortly here be impacting people in all other areas as well. And then, of course, we have to be concerned about the jobs that will be replaced with AI. And so we're going to need a foundation and a framework in place to be able to anticipate the changes that are coming with a lot of this innovation and make sure that our jobs for Ohio workers are being protected. And with Casey, he'd like to bring back a manufacturing renaissance in Ohio, where we're actually, building things with our hands and with people and not with robots. So when you think about what the future looks like, I just recently saw a restaurant in California that is utilizing robots for every aspect: the food preparation, the serving, taking your money. It recognizes you when you walk in the door, and it already knows what your meal is that you want to order. Like, this is the kind of thing that people aren't consenting to. People don't even know about it, first and foremost. And then you mentioned that the Pike County, they've got Anduril, which is a robotics company. There are pilots going on all over the country with regard to drone shipping. So Amazon is piloting these drones that are shipping direct to your door. Do people really want little drones like flying over their head 24/7, dropping deliveries? Is that the 1984 George Orwell scenario that people really want? And we need to give people the opportunity to tell us, what do they want here? And is this really the future for Ohio? And that is the future that our opponent is going to bring. And the future we want to bring is more of a renaissance for Ohio, protecting our heritage, protecting our buildings, protecting our jobs, protecting our resources, and protecting our property, the property that we own, based on the Article 1 in the Constitution, Section 19, talking about our property rights and destroying the potential water in the wells that might exist under the property and land that you own. That has to be protected. And none of these things are being talked about, and we are the only ones talking about it. So I would urge you all to get out there and vote for Casey and Kim. We are the real deal, and we have the political courage to take on this fight. So thanks for having me on tonight.
Well,
and go to our website. We have, putschforohio.com. We have every single social media channel available out there under the sun. You can find us on, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Instagram. So look for us. We're saying a lot on both policy, and we're also truth telling. And I know some people don't like to hear the truth, but it has to be said and someone has to say it. So anyway, we love your vote and we would love to serve you. So thanks again. And I hope y'all have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Really appreciate it. Thank you
Kim.
again.
Thank
God bless.
you. Nice job.
Absolutely.
All right. Tom Hach, I saw that you're out there. I see you, but you can't run, okay? You're out there. Hang on a minute. Now, I don't see you.
Good.
But...
Tom's joining us. Hey, do we have a minute for a quick comment?
Well, yeah, go ahead. Quick comment, and then
right.
I think Kent needs to say something here.
I'll go. All right. So Kent needs to bring us up to speed on all things Ohio political news. I'm going to interject a comment. I talk about this a lot on my channel, Unwoke Academy. Miss Georgeton brought up a very important point having to do with Amazon. Back in my day, our legislature worked aggressively against monopolies. Amazon is absolutely a monopoly. It has to be broken up. It should have been broken up a long time ago. It includes pharmaceutical, publishing, web traffic, shipping, logistics, all kinds of critical infrastructure and the way that we conduct our lives in the United States. I'm giving a quick bullet point, just consider this a breadcrumb, but I talk a lot about Amazon, and in particular, Amazon in relation to BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. If we give a few companies way too much power, we lose our freedoms. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. So yes, we can get caught up on the idea of these drone deliveries, and some people may think it's really cool and kind of next level new tech stuff, and maybe it is, but when you give that one company way too much power, we give up our freedoms. That's ultimately the point that I want to make. I wanted to jump in, take advantage of that opportunity, and I'm excited to hear that Tom Hach is joining us.
Yeah, Tom, you're out there, right?
I am.
Okay, hang loose. Hang loose. Kent, what's happening? What do we got?
Yeah, make sure to, wherever you're at, follow us and share any platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, X. Make sure to subscribe and to follow us, like us on Facebook. I did notice that I appreciate Hillary Jackson was sending a couple cents to us. I appreciate that. She's been a busy bee for the last couple days, so I appreciate her on tonight and sharing. If you are on Facebook, down in the bottom, you can click on the star icon and you can send us a little bit of whatever you can. We appreciate it. It does cost money to do this. We will be going out to live stream Thursday. We'll definitely be with Brian and getting all the information. We'll definitely have that set up on all the platforms. And also, I'm really excited. It's personally excited. Next week, my mentor and the guy that I learned basically everything I do will be on the show, Mark K. If you check out Right Pen, if you just type in Right Pen on your Google, you can find his app. Amazing app to basically get all the correct posts from any politician, and it will basically X out like you were in grade school getting a grade on an English class, and it will correct the post and give you the right information from any politician. But Mark also does a bunch of podcasting. Really exciting to have him pop on next week. Hopefully we'll have him on right at 7, and he'll be talking about, also he's going to be running, I think it's in Florida for Congress, so he's also doing a campaign too, so we'll talk about that. But he has a lot of stuff going on, and really excited to have him on. But also, finally, May 5th, primary night, we're going to do a giveaway, a $50 Amazon giveaway. All you have to do is give out your email, and then there's a couple other ways to get digital tickets to try to win a $50 Amazon gift card We'll be running the actual giveaway at 9 p.m. during the results, so we'll make sure to stay tuned on all the platforms, and we'll let you know. But you have to send an email. Just that's all you got to do. But then there's also other ways to win with if you haven't followed us on Facebook or X or anything. And there's also 3 daily giveaway tickets that you can get every day up to the election night. So that's about it, Joe. I think we're pretty busy in the next couple of weeks.
All right, very good.
Exciting.
Thank you. So Kent does a lot of the IT work. He does all the IT work. And if it wasn't for Kent, we would not have a show. That is for sure. All right, I'm going to bring Tom Hach in, but it's all black, Tom. I don't see you.
Yeah, so I have tried my settings. I've tried multiple things. If you would like, I'm on my computer. I could go in on my cell phone if that's of interest to you.
Go into, absolutely. That's fine. A lot of people do that, cell phone. I think Kim Georgeton was on with her cell phone. So, yeah, you could do that.
Hey, Joe, while Tom's dialing in again, I think we should give accolades to Commissioner John Plechnik for winning the Stanton Award.
Yes, hang on one second. Let me play this. I'm glad you reminded me because this guy won an award. We know of him as Commissioner No, and pretty amazing stuff. By the dawn's early. Okay, first of all, this is at the Lincoln Day dinner just a couple days ago, and he has got so many traits. And one of them is singing. So he sang the national anthem here. Commissioner No. Now, Commissioner No is going to get this award. It is the highest award that the Lake County Republican group gives out. It's their highest award. Wow. And of course, it's speech time. And if there's one thing Commissioner No is not short on, it's wordsmithing when he gets a microphone in his hand. But he did a great job. And, congratulations to him. That was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, we say congratulations. Well deserved.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And he's been instrumental in the movement to abolish Ohio property taxes, educating everyone, including the legislators. And his basic message to the legislators is cut spending. There's no problem generating revenue in the state. They just spend it foolishly.
You got it. I don't know if Tom is back. Tom, are you back yet or not?
I am back. Can you hear me?
I hear you, but I don't see you. This is what you look like right here.
Okay. I'm on with my cell phone, and I see myself at the top of my screen. So if you look around, you might actually find me. And if not, there's no need. You don't need to have my video.
We don't need to see you. We don't need to see you. All right. Let's talk about the Liberator list. Let me put this up here real quick. You guys worked hard on this, you and your whole committee. So here's the Liberator list for the primary endorsements on May 5th. So what do you got here?
Sure. So what we wanted to do is try to give voice to the grassroots. So we put together a team of 11 people. There are 4 people on the board itself that actually does the approval of who gets onto the list. But we had a research team of 7 people as well. Mostly, I guess there's a plurality of people in the Cleveland area, but we have people down near Columbus and Findlay and over in down in Hamilton County as well. And we really wanted to have an opportunity to reach out to the people running for office at the state level, the Ohio Central Committee, Ohio House, Ohio State, Ohio Senate, and some of the statewide as well. And so we just really wanted to be able to reach out to them, ask them to answer our survey, which covered 5 or 6 different areas, including education, their background, what got them involved with politics, where they thought they stood on the political spectrum, and a little bit more about what actually drove them to have the principles that they have. And yep, you're scrolling right past all that and right through all that, and that's exactly what we did. So there are 14 questions. They covered those areas, and we did reach out to all 75 contested state central committee races. We got feedback from about 25 different individuals. The board got together after the research was done and a review, and we did want to eliminate our biases as much as possible. So in the first review of those candidates who were kind enough to actually reply to our survey, we had 2 members of the team both look at them independently and come to an assessment, and then those 2 members got together and had a conversation to kind of iron out any differences. And then they made a recommendation to the board on whether or not to endorse for this go around. So we did our best to try to,
So it looks like you have a lot of state central committee endorsements. Do you, and then you have down here for the Ohio House, you got a few, and then for Secretary of State, you got one. Are those all your endorsements, or is there another?
No,
category?
Those are all of our endorsements. So to be clear, we only operate in contested races. So, if somebody is running for any of those offices and there's no opponent, we didn't feel that it was worth, it was not valuable use of our time to look at those candidates. We only wanted to evaluate, only wanted to evaluate races that had multiple candidates in them.
Shelby, you're still with us, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Did you see that he's got you endorsed, Senate District 20? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Shelby was part of the team.
Yes.
Oh,
so I did some of the.
Well, you're not supposed to say that. You were part of the team that put the names together. Well, of course you're going to be on research.
He was not part of the evaluation. He was part of the evaluation process, but he was not part of the voting process.
Correct.
And he did not evaluate himself, just to be clear.
All right. So you're saying it was all in the up
come
and
on,
up.
Joe. You're laughing at it. What do you think that the ORP does? I mean, you want to talk about a corrupt system.
Listen, it's politics, okay?
Right.
If there's anything that is like truthful and on the up and up, as far as politics goes, that's like that raises your eyebrows pretty quick. Otherwise, you're just assuming, this is a. Okay, very good. Well, let's just read these off here real quick. Let's see who you're endorsing. Let me put this up again. Hang on one second. Let me get the.
And while you're doing that, Joe, so people, we do have a Facebook page. So if people want to go there, they can share the different posts that we have. I mean, this is all word of mouth. This is a grassroots effort. We really have basically no money. So we are trying to spread the word by Facebook posts, Instagram, and other things. But also, as I go around to different meetings, I am offering magnetic car magnets for people to put on their car, and it does have a QR code that takes them straight to this website that you're looking at. And we're hoping to get word out as much as possible. And I do think that our biggest opportunity is to get more conservatives out to vote for the state central committee. But Joe, please go ahead.
All right. So what we're going to do here is just read some of these off real quick. And so John Adams, you got here in Erie and Huron. You also have Jill Steinbaugh, Jessica Franz. Now, these are all state central committee people. Christian Mays, Linda Caudill. We've had her on the podcast before. John Campanari, Becky Foster, Laura Rosenberger, who is on the committee right now. So Kirsten Hills would be a new one. Mike Whitty is on already. Joseph Healy. Let's see. Alicia Healy. And then there's Shelby Hunt, Bill Hach, Doris Peters, Ralph Spampanato, and Carol Coleman. All right. And then if we go down to here, we see for House District 43, you have David Carmel. For House District 88, you have Eric Watson. And 96, you have Ron Ferguson. And for Secretary of State, you have Marcel Sturbich. And but you didn't get anything for the treasurers, Tom. To the treasurer race is very competitive also.
We did send out letters to both treasurer candidates, and neither replied.
Gotcha. Well, it's their loss then, because if one would have replied, they'd be on your list. All right. Anything else with the Liberator list? Looks really good. You put a lot of time and effort into it and everything. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, it is, and we're only going to operate in the primaries. So that's when the conservative vote has the most influence. So we're going to focus on primaries, and again, if people want to help spread the word, this is go to our Facebook page, and like the post that we have, forward the post that we have, and that will help get word out. And frankly, the more conservatives we can get elected to the State Central Committee, the more it's going to represent us and not other interests. So I do think this is really a true opportunity for the grassroots to amplify their voice.
You got it. Well, thank you very much. Thanks. You can hang on if you'd like, but I want to thank you for that. And we got to have you on again talking about other stuff because you're a wealth of information.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, can I add something there?
Yeah, you can add something. And I do want to add one other thing. We've got Timothy Shea coming up. Tim, if you're out there, please connect. If you can.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. I don't see. Well, I kind of see you. You're froze, though. I only see the top of your head. Oh, now I see more than the top of your head. Okay, very good. All right, hang in there, Patriot. Hang in there. All right. Tom, thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for the invitation. And again, this is a great way to help grassroots candidates across the state and to direct grassroots voters to vote for those who are most like them. So thanks for the opportunity to be here.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Those guys, the Liberator list, so you guys could go to that and check it out. All right. Let me go back to the Zoom call.
Well, actually, Joe, I was going to interject something really quickly if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tom Hach was just on talking about the importance of state central committee races, and I just want to highlight an email, or not an email address, a web address that I've mentioned many times on the show before, and that is ohioprecinctstrategy.org. ohioprecinctstrategy.org. Go there and watch a couple of little short videos and check things out. That's run by a group in Central Ohio that's very focused on educating Ohioans on the importance of precinct committeemen. The Central Committee, think of it like the board of directors for the Republican Party. Joe was talking about, and Shelby was talking about, some corruption within the Republican Party. I can speak to that personally. If we want to counter that, we need more people involved. That website will help instruct people. Once again, ohioprecinctstrategy.org. Thanks.
Oh, all right. Very good. Very good. Okay. So, Brian, this is our last segment. Brian's still with us. Also, Jeff Skinner. Yep, Jeff, you're still with us as well. So what we're going to do is I've got Timothy Shea with us here tonight, and so we can bounce questions off him, maybe just do some rapid fire stuff too. But let's bring him up here. You're still with the MAGA Institute, right?
Definitely.
All right, that's the way to be.
I want to highlight what your guests so far have been saying, because we started this in 2019, okay?
Sure.
But I actually started this back after 2000 in Massachusetts. We took over our local committee, our local town committee, and then we helped some other people in other towns do the same thing. Precinct strategy is what it's all about. Nationwide, only about 2/3 of the GOP seats available are filled. And about half of those are filled with establishment Republicans, and because of all our hard work in the grassroots nationwide. About half are filled with MAGA, but that still leaves a third up for grabs. Get involved, we'd have a 2/3 majority, and they wouldn't be able to do anything.
I understand. Yeah, that's what we keep preaching. That's what Jonathan keeps preaching as well.
I can't emphasize enough. Your Liberty list guest. It's all about the primaries. If you're waiting until November to vote, you've already lost, because it's going to be a GOP establishment candidate that's going to be no better than the Democrat.
All right, let's get to, I want to get to, you're absolutely right on that. Absolutely right on that. I want to get to a couple of stories here and get your take on it, and if anybody else's takes and stuff like that. But this one, let's talk about this one with the Pope, because I know that you're religious, and the whole incident with the Pope. Now, what I don't get about it is, what does the Pope want? Does he want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Because we're that close to having a nuclear weapon if Trump doesn't intervene. And this whole idea that, you can't start a war, well, it wasn't much of a war. And if the Iranians got, that nuclear bomb, we're going to have millions of people that are dead. And then I picked this up off of X. Watch this a second, if you would.
What's taking place, which is absolutely outrageous.
This was at Mass, okay? This was at Mass. I got this off of X, and the priest is talking here, and he's on the subject, apparently, about the war.
We pray for peace in the world. Pray for Donald Trump, the Lord will take him.
Okay, so he's and this thing is like going viral. It's like this priest, obviously, as liberal as all get out, is saying, we pray for Donald Trump that the Lord will take him. You don't say that at Mass. I mean,
you don't. But and the laughter gave them away. This is your standard Saint Typical, according to Father Joe, who has single-handedly restored my faith in the Society of Jesus. You can check him out on X. Father Joe McTeague. He calls them Saint Typicals, okay? I have one here in my town. My local parish is this brick monstrosity that was built in 1970. No traditional lines. It's a total kumbaya parish. We got the felt banners. We got the drum kit. Got the whole Protestant shtick.
Got the felt banners. The felt banners. Oh, yeah.
It's not a Catholic church. It is a Vatican II synodal church, okay? I go to a traditional church with an apse, a transept, a nave, a high altar, the whole 9 yards. So this priest is an absolute abomination. This is what the boomers have done to the Catholic Church. This is what the Freemasons have done to the Catholic Church. And you can tell by their vestments. It's not a traditional vestment. He's got that polyester batwing thing going on. It's an absolute disgrace for a priest to say that at Mass. Now, with regard to the Pope, I want to be very, very clear here. The Pope has absolutely every right to talk about political issues. Every right to talk about political issues. What I'm disappointed in is that he's aligned himself with the Chicago machine. And don't insult our intelligence by saying that having David Axelrod in for a private audience is just because his daughter was receiving services. God bless his daughter. I'm glad that we're giving services. The Catholic Church is the #1 provider of social services in the nation, way more than the federal government. However, not everybody receiving services from the Catholic Church can get a 20 or 30-minute private audience with the Pope and his entire family. And it insults our intelligence to say, well, he was just there to give him some White Sox memorabilia and to thank him for taking care of his granddaughter, or whoever the young woman is to him. And then within days, he comes out against the war. Well, you correctly pointed out, Joe, this isn't a war. This is a military action. This
right. Hardly anybody died on our side, right? And the casualties are pretty low for it to be a war. The casualties are pretty low. I mean, I don't get it.
13, which is unfortunate, but most of them were accidental deaths. I mean, they were on a base that got hit by a rocket, so yeah, technically, yes, but it's not like we're out trying to storm the beaches of Anzio in Normandy here, right? So in this whole thing, the people that don't understand it are focusing on the Persian Gulf. You can't look at a map, you got to look at a globe to understand what's going on. Every single action the president has taken since 20 January 2025 has been directed toward this one overarching goal. And that is to take the globalist new world order that they had wet dreams about for decades and flip it on its head, using their strategy against them. Donald Trump is creating the American new world order. Okay, every single thing he's done has been to box in China, to box in Xi. It's no accident that he's going to China to meet with Xi next month, or in June, I guess, not next month, but the month after. Everything has been done. 85% of China, or 45% of China's oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz. There are two important straits in the entire world for global trade, and it's not the Panama Canal. It's the Strait of Hormuz, where China gets 45% of its oil, and the Strait of Malacca. You cannot enter or exit the South China Sea to India, to Africa, to Europe from China without going through the Straits of Malacca. Well, what did we just sign last week with Pete Hegseth? A military cooperation treaty with Indonesia. We've already got Singapore on board. So we have military control, or the ability to have military control over the Strait of Malacca, which will completely bottle up Chinese trade. Venezuela, getting Maduro, again, Trump works on multiple levels, and you can call it 3D chess, 5D chess if you want to make fun of it. That's the way the man thinks. Getting Maduro got us all the evidence and the testimony about this stolen election in 2020. It also knocked down the fentanyl in the drug trade. It also knocked down an awful lot of illegals coming here. And perhaps most importantly, it cut off another huge supplier of Chinese oil, 40% this time. So we control. Well, now, Joe, we've got.
Wow, I love that. I love that name. I love it. I love it. Okay,
they're coming into the Gulf of America. They're buying American oil, and now we have leverage.
All right, here's what I want to do. I want to go around the table. So do you mind fielding some questions? Because you seem to have knowledge, an encyclopedia-type knowledge. But I just want these guys to have a little fun here. Let me... Jeff Skinner, thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Do you have a question to ask this madman? And I'm referring to this guy here. But go ahead. You got to have something to ask him. It's got to be political, preferably Trump-oriented.
So I guess the main question I have is, have you also heard that China has been reverting some of its infrastructure back to coal as a response to some of the issues with the Strait of Hormuz, and then B, I've heard this argument before that the attack on the Strait of Hormuz is motivated by blocking in China, but Chinese ships and tankers haven't been impacted by this. In fact, the Iranian toll is being imposed on ships passing through to trade oil in yen, which would actually be empowering.
Not anymore. They've been turned away since we blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump said, I see your blockade and raise you a real blockade.
So you're under the impression that the Chinese ships are being blocked right now?
Chinese ships have been turned away, yes.
Okay.
Some went through, and then the president imposed the blockade, and now they're being turned away in the Gulf of Oman.
Go around the
Do you believe that the Trump administration would fire on Chinese ships?
Pardon me?
Do you believe the Trump administration would fire on Chinese ships if they attempted to run his blockade?
Doesn't have to. We pose a credible threat of doing so. Chinese aren't stupid. They don't want to start a war.
All right, Brian, your turn.
Yeah. Tim, question on the Catholic Church. I've had a run-in with the church. This is over 5 years ago when I wrote an article for the the News Herald, and I said, basically, you cannot have a sovereign nation if you have open borders. And I was personally called out, or the article was, at a mass, when the priest up there mentioned about my article, and he said, the person that wrote this is not a good Christian. And I took offense to that because I see the Vatican has, what, a 30-foot wall around their structures.
And Brian, not only does it have a 30-foot wall, why does it have a 30-foot wall? To repel an attack by Muslims. And now you've got a pope going barefoot or stocking-footed in a mosque and writing his name in the book and saying Allah is equal to God. No, Allah is Satan. You had every right to be upset 5 years ago. I would refer that priest to Jesus himself when he said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." What we're seeing is the last dying emphysemic gasp of the boomer synodal church. Our young priests and our young Catholics, we had tens of thousands of young people convert to Catholicism for the Easter Vigil on Holy Saturday. Tens of thousands nationwide. They're not going to Novus Ordo parishes, and they're not joining Novus Ordo seminaries. I see the future in the church as being the church of our forefathers, not the church of the hippy-dippy 60 Jesuit liberals.
And I went to a Jesuit ceremony today. Right down this street, John
Jesuits out there. Father Joe McTeague is one. Check him out on X, or on YouTube. I'm sorry.
Would you also agree, Tim, that the message of Sodom and Gomorrah was it was not that they showed a lack of hospitality? Would you agree with that? Because that's what we've been taught in our church.
Yeah, no, I would indeed agree that it was not a lack of hospitality. And I would point whoever said that to Father Ripperger, who said that what we are seeing in the world today, in the secular world, is far worse than what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Wow.
Make of that what you will.
Wow. Jonathan, your turn.
All right. So my question is, do you follow Promethean Action? And what are your thoughts on the comments that they're making on these sorts of things?
Catherine is one of the best people out there to follow, Promethean Action on X.
Yep. Great commentary.
What is it again? I can't even say it. Promethean what?
Promethean Action. So you know what I'll do? I'll try to grab a couple of links there on a few different platforms. You can find them on there's scaled down versions of their commentary that you can find on YouTube. YouTube is heavily censored. X, they're all over X. They have a website, Promethean Action. They have some really good intel and a great way to provide ongoing commentary on what's happening around the world. But rather than try and spell it out or get it to you to post, I'll see if I can get it posted in the show notes after this show.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sorry to overtalk you, Jonathan. I do believe that Catherine is a former intelligence officer, so it's legit info with a lot of great inside info.
All right, let's watch this clip for a second. I'll get your thoughts.
I'm giving a very peaceful warning to Senate Majority Leader Thune. He has 13 days until the end of April to pass the Save America Act into law. And respectfully, if the Senate Majority Leader is incapable of passing said legislation by the end of April, I will be going to Louisiana to help defeat Senator Cassidy in the May 16th Saturday primary. And I will be heading to Texas to defeat John Cornyn and the May 26th Senate runoff.
All right, Scott Pressler there. He sounds very serious. All right, I want to get your thoughts on that as well, Timothy. What is happening with John Thune? What is happening with the Save America Act? What the hell's going on, and what's going to be the outcome of it?
Well, John Thune's an absolute disgrace. He's a typical Republican, right? He's no different than Glitch McConnell, although I'll give this to Glitch. Glitch prevented our wonderful Attorney General Merrick Garland from gaining a sinecure on the Supreme Court. So at least Mitch did that for Americans, but he hasn't done much else. Thune hasn't even done that much. Thune's an absolute disgrace. friends in South Dakota know him quite well and have nothing good to say about him politically. They say he's a very nice man, but as we know, very nice men end up basically enabling the Democrats once they get to the House or the Senate. It's not that Thune can't get it passed, it's that he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I think I've met Scott several times. I wouldn't be as bold as to say that we know each other, although we're friendly when we see each other, so I guess maybe we do know each other.
Okay, so you've actually talked to Scott Pressler?
Several times at different rallies and conferences and whatnot. Scott is very earnest. I think he's doing a lot of people have told him to back off, that it's a fool's errand, and I don't think they understand what he's doing. All he's trying to do is bring attention to it, right? Get eyeballs on the issue, trying to create political pressure. That's how, the politics of persuasion works. And I encourage Scott to keep going. Bill Cassidy has to be bounced from the Senate, as do, quite frankly, 2/3 of the Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah. Such lazy SOBs. It's unreal. It's disgusting.
Lazy or corrupt.
Well, whatever. All right, let's go around the horn one last time. It's up to you again, Jeff. This is your chance, Mr. Know-It Everything. That you cannot stump Timothy Shea, okay? But go ahead.
Oh, sure you can.
Ask him a question. He's AI. Wait a minute. He is AI generated. He's not real. Just so you know. Okay.
Where do you see the Iran conflict going, I guess, in your opinion, in the next, let's say, 30, 60, 90 days?
Well, I'll tell you where I see it in the next 3 days. It's not going to take 30, 60, or 90 days. What did we see? We saw J.D. Vance go to Pakistan to try to make best efforts with negotiations, right? We got the political leaders of Iran trying to make a deal, and who popped up? The commander of the IRGC. Well, he's a wanted known terrorist. He's wanted for bombings back in 2004. And he and all of his team popped their heads up. The Israelis and the Americans have the best ISR in the world, and that is identification, surveillance, and reconnaissance. We know where they all are. We've got tracking on them. CIA has a device that can find a single heartbeat in 10,000 square miles of desert. That's how we found our pilot that was downed, who was hiding in a crevice in a mountain. Our technology is unbelievable. The professionalism of our intelligence operatives, both military and civilian, is incredible. I would not want to be in the IRGC High Council, because I believe that they will be deleted in the next 3 days. As soon as the ceasefire is over, they're gone.
Yeah, how long is the cease?
48 hours. Another 48 hours.
48 hours. Okay,
yeah,
got you.
That's why I said 3 days.
Got you. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, one last thing. Not to put you on the spot, Tim, but would you agree with me that we are at war with our state legislators? They
100%.
are. Okay. And I
100%.
I don't need to go any more, but I am concerned as I move forward.
I'll go
on this
even
movement
further. We're at war with the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Like
What
I said,
Republican Party? Too many
2/3
Democrats
of the
in it.
senators need to be bounced. It gets even worse when you get down to the state level.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Thank you, Tim.
Which gets me back to my point about getting the extra third of open GOP precinct seats that are open.
All right. Well, I do have a question that I'm going to ask you, but you just opened the door to further commentary for anyone who doesn't
Go
know.
nuts.
If you're new to Ohio political news, Dan Schultz and I have been we've been teaching the nation, training for 3 years on precinct strategy. Stay tuned. There's a new rollout that's actually being built right now with a mass national collaboration that is Precinct Project. Precinct Project is being rolled out as we speak. I'll be talking more about that on upcoming future episodes, but you're absolutely right. That's where the rubber meets the road. We need more people willing to get involved in local politics where you live. Precinct Strategy spells it out. Those two websites, again, the current OhioPrecinctStrategy.org, and Dan Schultz and Robert Beatles built PrecinctStrategy.com. That's a national website. But on to my question. You're talking about military capabilities, tracking, ISR, etc. At what point, is there a point at which you might be comfortable directing that internally against foreign agitators who are operating within the United States? And specifically, I'm talking about some of these No Kings rally, supposed protests and Antifa, etc. Any of us who are paying attention know that these are not organic, natural American citizens who are upset with things. These are paid outside agitators who are highly, highly organized and coming in to disrupt and attack U.S. cities and infrastructure. So is there a point at which you may be comfortable deploying some of that internally to try to break up and disband these organizations operating within U.S. soil?
Yeah, 9 years ago, 20 January 2017. Okay, we're already doing that. Marco Rubio pulled the green cards from Soleimani's niece and grandniece. They were living in the lap of luxury in L.A. and shouting death to America. And he said, nope, not on a green card, you don't. Out you go. Scott Bessent is shutting down the funding mechanisms being used by the globalists to fund this No Kings, BLM, etc. He's attacking it from a financial standpoint. So we're already doing that. I'm very comfortable with that. Look, if you're coming here and waving the flag from the nation from which you're seeking asylum, you don't belong here, and you got to go back.
Well put.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do we have anything to worry about with this upcoming midterm in November?
You always
Timothy?
have to worry about it,
Yeah.
but I think there's two factors that are going to be coming to a head this summer. One of them is the election integrity. We've already seen a couple great cases out of the Supreme Court. I think we're going to see a couple more great decisions. I'm told that there's one about gerrymandering that the minority it was a 6-3 decision, I'm told, and that the minority is dragging its feet to try to get past some of the primaries so that the congressional, the obscene congressional districts that takes Virginia from 6-5 to 10-1 in favor of the Democrats, that those are unconstitutional.
Oh, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Yeah, the Supreme Court's going to be coming out with a couple good election integrity cases. We've also got cases that are going to be brought. And again, who's going to be a prime witness but Maduro? Because this all was run out of Venezuela. We've already got the information from the Serbian servers that were used to steal 2020. We've got even CNN is backing away now from calling it the safest, most secure election in history. So the election integrity effort is going to play a big role in success in November. And the deportation thrust is going to play a big role because you're not going to have as many illegals here to be able to vote illegally or to have votes cast in their name. Now, there's something else that affects both Republicans and Democrats, because I'm telling you, Win Red is just as guilty as Act Blue on this, and that's smurfing. That's making donations in elderly people's names. They have no idea that donations are being made in their names, and it's a way for dark money to be laundered through Act Blue and through Win Red in relatively small amounts, and it's being done at scale, and literally tens of millions of dollars are flowing into the party coffers through these smurfing efforts. And look, I'll call out Republicans when they're not, doing things that are in the best interests of the nation. And quite frankly, smurfing is not in the best interests of the nation, Win Red. And if I'm wrong, sue me. Let's get to discovery.
No, very good. All right, Timothy. Sorry, we got to wrap it up here tonight. I really appreciate you coming on. We got to have you on again. And
hey, this was a lot of fun. Let's do these roundtables more often, Joe.
We will. We will do it more often. I'll just have everybody feed you a question and let you go.
Well, these are all great guys and great Americans. I welcome the questions.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. We appreciate it. We'll do it again. We'll get you on real soon. Thank you, Timothy. All right. We'll see everybody. You guys, hey, everybody have a good night tonight, and God bless, all right?
Good night, everybody. Thank you
Good
very
night,
much.
all.
Fighting a good fight, guys.